Hey everybody, ronarray here, and 3.26 is finally upon us. There's a lot of meta changes, but one of the very strong skills, together with its ascendancy, is left completely untouched. LACERATE of Haemorrhage Gladiator is going to be as strong as it was in Settlers. During 3.25 league, I league started it myself, and I did a lot of videos about LACERATE Gladiator, starting with league starter, showcasing the progress, cheaper version to transition, crafting videos, and finally, uber viable LACERATE build. So in this video, I wanted to cover some possible changes and improvements to my early LACERATE setups, and also recommend all detailed guides that I did for LACERATE in 3.25, especially the LACERATE league starting video, because it's going to hold your hand during the whole campaign and early mobs, so it could be very good for new players or people who never played melee. All of those videos are completely viable, and you will be able to find all of them in the description, together with all the info you will need to play LACERATE properly. Let's go, and I will tell you more about that great starter and cover the changes that I would make to make it even better and stronger. First off, let's talk about LACERATE Gladiator build itself. Right now, it's a very good starter that provides awesome survivability due to 88% of block and 88% spell block, plus you regenerate life on every block too, and you can easily withstand a barrage of blows. Those numbers are very easy to reach with just an ascendancy, so it can be very tanky even early in the game and on a low budget. Build can also reach spell suppression cap if you decide to go for it, even if I personally decided that for me just 88% of spell block chance is pretty much enough. On top of that, you can get approximately 80% resistances, making it really tanky against elemental damage too. And the game will forgive you a lot of mistakes with such resistances and block together. In addition to that, build has a pretty decent clear, since it can explode bleeding monsters with gratuitous violence passive, making it very easy and satisfying to just blow up packs. And finally, Aggravated blending provides a decent single target damage, making the build 100% uber viable at higher investment. There currently only one issue with LACERATE in general: lower AoE of the wave itself, because you will need to hit enemies with the wave. But I'm going to address it further in that video, and there are like a few fixes. So for the hand-holding leveling mode, I still recommend my huge video from 3.25. It will be in the pinned comment too and in the description. But let's make a few updates for the build overall to be more efficient. So how we will improve the quality of life of the clear? Since LACERATE had an AoE problems, our solution will come in two parts. So first part of the solution will come in the campaign. Right now, at level 13, instead of swapping to LACERATE, we will be able to swap to Thunder. Thunder is a pretty comfortable ability that you can hit a lot of enemies at the same time. So at level 12, you're going to swap to Thunder together with chance to bleed and like added fire damage at the start. You will be able to get like melee physical damage a little later on when it will become available for you. But right now, I definitely recommend to run Thunder at level 13, and I changed all the trees in my leveling path of building just for it. So that's going to make our clear significantly more comfortable. You could literally run the whole campaign with Thunder, because Thunder is a pretty good option for leveling right now. However, I would say at level 32, when you will get your first ascendancy with Thunder, you will be able to just swap to LACERATE. Because when you will get your first ascendancy, you're going to go for a specific passive called like balance right here, and it will give you bleeding enemies you kill explode. It's going to boost your clear significantly, and I really feel like swapping to LACERATE at that moment will be a pretty comfortable option. You can still keep leveling with Thunder, but in that case just replace LACERATE with Thunder here. Supports will stay the same. And here comes a second solution, a very important part that been completely ignored in my first iteration of LACERATE Gladiator. That's Eviscerate. Eviscerate is a very cool ability, which will give you a way to retaliate against enemies when you're like blocking their hits. You're going to constantly block anyway because you're playing a Gladiator, and that way Eviscerate will be available pretty often. So Eviscerate is going to completely fix our AoE during the campaign, during like early maps, and even in the endgame, because it's providing a lot of clear by itself. Especially if you're going to combine it with Pulverize. It will give it pretty nice like wave length and wave width. That way you will hit like pretty big waves and it's going to feel very comfortable. So I added Eviscerate into all options right here. As you can see, additional clear Eviscerate here, and at all the levels up to like level 91. So you're going to run like Eviscerate, Melee Physical, Pulverize and Brutality. It's going to make Eviscerate one of the options that you're using constantly in maps just to clear enemies that you currently can't see. I think it's going to make Lacerate gameplay significantly more comfortable. You're still going to hit a lot of enemies, especially the rares with your Lacerate of Haemorrhage, but Eviscerate is definitely going to come in handy. I even recommend it in the Uber version of the build, and I think it will stay viable up until the endgame. Another important change for path of building in Lacerate. When we are going for the higher levels, especially for level like 90s, I definitely recommend to take at least Cannibalistic Rite to fix your mana. Definitely there have been like two options to run mana test. So you could just take like Blood Magic and make sure that you don't have mana at all, or you can get additional passives such as Cannibalistic Rite to make sure that your mana is going to feel alright. So after playing with Lacerate, I would definitely say that just Cannibalistic will be more than enough in the most cases. If your mana will be completely scuffed, you can always go for Spirit of War as well. However, since you have some mana leech from like life and mana leech passive right here, it should be pretty much alright. And at level 90 before, I had like end range here with chance to suppress spell damage. Right now I think it's not really necessary because you're going to reach crazy amount of spell block chance, which is 88% right now, and I really feel like it's not too important to just focus on spell suppression. That way you can just focus on damage, fortify, or even block. But on the other hand, I really think like Block Mastery here together with As the Mountain is a very good combination that's going to make your survivability better. So because of that, we are starting to take As the Mountain from level 66, and we are going to take the Mastery from level like 75. I think it's going to boost your survivability pretty decently and also going to help you out with the mana. So if for a second you like cannot properly attack, you will be able to receive mana just from blocking because enemies are still going to hit you. That way you will be able to just recast your Lacerate without a lot of issues. Next important step is what we are going to do with the Ralakesh nerf. Unfortunately, boots that we've been using in the Uber version been nerfed, so Ralakesh Impatience right now can provide like Endurance, Frenzy and Power charges at the same time, but they will have a movement speed, which is pretty nice to be honest. So right here, I have like an updated POB with like get Frenzy charge only for Ralakesh. Why? Because we're going to receive endurance charges from replicas Pharaohs 4 in the Uber version anyway. It's going to give us maximum number of Frenzy and endurance. But Frenzy is going to be moved to like affliction charges because of the Alicia's Delight. It's providing a huge damage bonus to the build, so I wouldn't drop it. Since we still need to utilize Frenzy, I would probably just run normal Ralakesh with only Frenzy charges. That way we are missing the power, it doesn't matter because we're not really criting anyway. And endurance charges are just going to come from replicas Pharaohs 4, so it's not going to be that big of an issue. And why we even need Frenzy charges? So here is a quick explanation. Usurper Penance that we are using as a helmet is providing us cool bonuses based on our Frenzy charges. That way having the Ralakesh is still necessary even if we are going to just run the basic version of it with Frenzy charges only. And another interesting question that people are asking very often, at what point you need to swap from normal Lacerate to the Lacerate of Haemorrhage? So generally, I recommend to do that like approximately around level 75. I still had a POB with normal Lacerate in here, but at level 91 it's already been of Haemorrhage. So when you're finishing the campaign, you're running like your basic setup and getting basic currency, I recommend to just buy Haemorrhage or just run a lab yourself around like tier 3 lab. So you will be able to get LACERATE of Haemorrhage early on. You don't really need to focus on that like at very early level, but if you can get it from first lab, it still could be pretty useful, and I'm probably would recommend to use that. Another interesting addition that we can mention, that right now I also have my own path of building that I had approximately during the update. I did a video at level 96 showcasing the current state of the build, my items, how it worked, and changes in the tree. So instead of theoretical option for like level 96, I recommend to use that one because that one is completely based on my items at the moment. Like I had Exile, like proper shields and stuff like that. You can use it as a pretty nice example. And right here, I also think that changing determination at the highest level to just summon skitterboards and pride is probably a very good idea, because that way it will be easier for you to manage your mana and it's going to work much better. We also still have like Eviscerate together with Calling Strike, Brutality and melee physical damage. You can run Pulverize here if you want more AoE, but even that setup is usually enough in the proper endgame. Right here, there's also an interesting moment that I wanted to mention, that if you have issues with damage over time, because right now there are definitely some situations when damage over time doing too much damage to your character, like Burning Ground for example, and stuff like that. You can literally run the mastery right here. 10% less damage taken from damage over time is helping more than you would like to see. So I definitely recommend to just take it in case if you have like issues with dots. Another interesting topics is just like auras overall. So around level 91, when you're going to hit the maps, you usually should run like Pride and Determination. I really feel like Determination is not really providing that big of a bonus, because you're going to be protected against physical pretty good anyway. However, in that case, if you want, you can replay that with Herald of Purity right now, fixing your mana completely. But if you don't really want it and you want to be a little tankier, running Determination together with like Pride is probably your best idea in the setup. Just make sure that you have like loadout, say to just like level 91, and you can pick any aura that you like. Generally, I have like Herald of Purity off, because in my opinion it's not really providing that big of a bonus. And right here, I'm going to leave that path of building in the comments too, but I still recommend you to watch the original video, because there's like a lot of answers and recommendations on how to level that. So with all those changes and details, I'm absolutely sure that LACERATE Gladiator is going to be a very comfortable build for you, and you will be able to tackle any kind of challenge with it. Right now, especially since we can run like Eviscerate with Pulverize, I think even clear is not that big of an issue, and you will be able to compensate the AoE without a lot of trouble. And right now, I think if you will just follow all the material that I'm going to leave in the description, it's going to be pretty easy for you to play the build. However, if you still have some questions, you can always leave them in the comments or ask me on Twitch. I will be happy to help you out, and I will keep the build updated in case if something is going to change in 3.26. Thank you very much for watching, and have an amazing league start. ronarray out.